Live.
And good evening, dear friends. I'm so happy to be here another time and another time and another time. And I am Lorelei Nassar, a dentist, and also passionate on psychology. And guess what? I told you before, I'm working with medical hypnosis, and I'm doing a formation in transpersonal psychology, intimate. And one of my teachers in this formation is Dr. Can we tell you from now, Doctor?
Not yet. It's coming very soon.
Jure Biechonski from Estonia. He's a very well-known, worldwide lecturer. Welcome, Jure. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And you are a very reputed expert in transpersonal psychology. Why transpersonal?
Because for me, transpersonal is the holistic approach. It's about integrating between the past, the present, and the future. It's about going beyond the ego and understanding ourselves as part of something much bigger than us.
There are people which agree with this definition, and there are people which don't agree. And I know for sure there are psychologists which even don't know about this transpersonal movement. What do you say about this? Does it have a proper place or?
Okay. Abraham Maslow said once that every time that something new is emerging, something old is trying to pull it back. It always works like that. So the history of psychology is full of different wars and disputes between different theories. Starting from Freud, everybody argued with everybody disagreed with everybody was protecting their own very narrow view of things. One of the things that I personally try to avoid is to do a strict definition of what is transpersonal psychology. Because in the past, different theories defined their method, and everybody that said something that does not fit into the method immediately was thrown out of the professional body. I'm trying to leave the definition as open as possible.
As a lot of things in our life, actually, now. And nowadays they are talking about integral transpersonal psychology or integrative transpersonal psychology.
Okay, let me react to it in that way. There are a lot of egos out there that think they are inventing something new. They're just reinventing the wheel. It's all the same thing, but people like to put new labels to all things. Exactly as last time I talked about psychoneuroimmunology, okay? For thousands of years in the East, they knew that the mind and the body are connected, and now in the West, they call it psychoneuroimmunology, and they think they invented it. There's nothing you understand. Everything is already there. All the knowledge that we need and the wisdom that is needed is already there. All we have to do is just to open our mind much wider to able to access it.
Right. And how do you work with this in your daily life? I mean, before you were into this trend of transpersonal psychology, you used to work with other methods.
Yes.
You were with the psychoanalysis and Jungian methods and so on and so on. First of all, what brought you to here?
To the transpersonal, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. What the psychoanalytical method does, it explains to us, make us aware where the problem comes from. So now I know that I had a difficult childhood, okay, and my parents did not treat me right, and my mother did not love me enough, so this is why I have the problem. I've got an excuse, bravo. Okay. For me, it's not enough. What's important for me is okay, to have the awareness where it's coming from, to understand where I am now, And where I'm going with it is there are three important phases in my work. Is the experience, the integration of the experience, what does it mean to me, what I've experienced, and the application, what do I do with it, starting tomorrow morning, that will make a difference in my life. The awareness itself is not enough.
Right, I totally agree with you, totally agree. You talk about past. I mean, you talk about understanding where do we come from, and we come from this or that childhood. How do you integrate this image of the childhood? And you were talking on our lectures about inner child.
Yeah. Okay. So I can just do a small introduction to the inner child, because what we're going to do now is we're going to go on a journey. We're going to go on a journey back to childhood. And I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to imagine that you're finding yourself now in your present adult age, back in the past, in front of your childhood house. And when you stand there and you look at the street of your childhood house, you notice that everybody that was there in the past is still there. And very soon, what we're going to do, we're going to enter your childhood house. And as you walk through the door, we are entering the childhood house as invisible guests. You walked in, and I want you to look around your childhood house. Look at the furniture, the objects, the decorations, and notice that everything as it was there before is still there. And as you are standing in this house, I want you to listen to the sounds of the house. Is it a quiet house? Is it a noisy house? Or is it a very loud house? And I want you even to take a deep breath and smell the smells of the house. And as you see what you see, and you feel what you feel, you hear what you hear. And when you look around the house, somewhere in this house, I want you to notice your mother. Look at her very carefully. She looked exactly as she looked in your childhood. See what clothes she's wearing. See what she is doing. Look at the face and the eyes of your mother. And now you know how your mother was feeling in this house. And as you continue looking around, somewhere in this house, you see your father. Look at him very carefully. What clothes he is wearing. Look at the face and the eyes of your father. And now you know how your father was feeling in this house. And as you keep looking around, maybe there's a brother or a sister, or maybe a cat or a dog, or maybe a grandparent living in this house. When you continue looking around, somewhere you see a little child. And as you approach this little child, I want you to realize that this little child is the little you. And now I want you to look at the face and the eyes of this little child. Because you are the only person in the world that knows how this child is feeling in this house. And this child is the only person in this house that can actually see you. And you take this little child by the hand, and you walk with the child to the childhood room. And you sit with this child on the bed, and you look around the childhood room. Are there any books, any toys? Is it a happy room? Is it a sad room? And when you sit on the bed with this little child that you once were, and you look at the eyes of this little child, you are the only person in the whole world that knows what this child feels, what this child needs, what makes this child happy, what makes this child scared, what this child dreams of. And because you are the only person that knows, because no psychologist and no psychiatrist knows better than you what this child really needs, I want you to talk to this child and tell to this child what this child really wants to hear. And now I want you to listen to the child. Maybe the child wants to say something to you. Something that this child all want to say, but maybe never said. Maybe this child wants to show you something or ask you something. Something this child always want to ask, but never asked. And as you listen to this child, you continue talking to this child and saying to this child what this child really needs to hear. And what I want you to do now is I want you to take this little child in your arms and give this child a hug, a kind of hug that you know this child always want to have, but maybe never had. And as you're holding this little child in your arms, I want you to imagine that you are becoming this little child. You are held by your adult self. You hear what you hear, and you feel what you feel. And now, you are your adult self. You look at the face and the eyes of this little child, and you see what you see. And what I want you to do now, I want you to take this child by the hand and walk out from the childhood house, out to the childhood street. And from the childhood street, I want you to take this child to a special place. It might be a magic place, it might be a place of your imagination, or a place that you know. A special place when you and this child can spend time together, just the two of you. And now once again, I want you to hold this child in your arms and give this child a hug, the kind of hug that this child always want to have, but maybe never had. And something magic is happening. This child becomes part of you. Because the child you once were is still alive in your adult shell. And from now on, you can become a father and a mother to this child. A kind of mother and father that this child always want to have, but maybe never had. You can become a brother and a sister to this child, a kind of brother and sister that this child always want to have but never had. You can become even a friend to this child, a kind of friend that this child always want to have but never had. And from now on, whenever you as an adult, you have thoughts and feelings that you know that you're not supposed to have, it's not you that have those thoughts or feelings, but the child within you. And all you need to do is to take a deep breath, go inside, look at the face and the eyes of this little child that lives inside you, and say to this child what you know this child needs to hear, because you are the only person in the whole world that knows what this child really needs. Nobody knows it better than you. And now, the last thing I want all of us to remember. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. We can start right now. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. It's a beautiful instrument. Beautiful. And now, guys, all of us are have this deep understanding about what means transpersonal. This means transpersonal and is a beautiful instrument indeed to work with.
Okay. We have to, one important thing is that our biological age is only a time measurement from the moment we are born till today. This is the only meaning it has. We have an emotional age. And this emotional age is the age of the inner child. And the way to find what is our emotional age, I want you to imagine a little child standing in front of you. And this little child is you. Look at this little child. How old is the child? Imagine a number. And the number that comes to your mind is your emotional age. And when you look at the face and the eyes of this child, what do you see? And I'm asking myself, when was the last time your mother or your father looked you in the eyes and told you, I love you and I'm proud of you? When was the last time you heard this? And unfortunately, sometimes I hear never. So I'm asking myself a simple question. How can you grow a normal, balanced adult? Well, all of your life, none of your parents have told you, I love you and I'm proud of you. This is very sad. When was the last time you looked at the eyes of your children and told them, I love you and I'm proud of you? Because I remember from my own childhood, only when I've done something wrong, I got attention. When I've done something good, nobody reacted. So, of course, we have a new psychiatric label for it, attention deficit disorder. Come on, it does not exist. There's a little child inside us that is screaming for love and attention. Are we able to look inside and give to our inner self what our inner self really needs?
But Jure, yes, we can do this as adults while looking inside and taking and hugging the inner child. You're doing it. But still, is this indeed of great value for the healing of the person? And how do you do the integration? You were talking about, seeing things and noticing, and after that integrating.
Okay. Everything that I say, and I'm going to say, it's not enough. We have not invented the ultimate tool to solve everything.
Right.
We are still in the process of developing new approaches. But let's talk about integration application. Okay. I'm your father. Imagine for a moment I'm your father. And you are my child, my son or daughter. And there's something I want to tell you. You know, my dear child, for the past 60, 70 years of my life, nobody ever looked at me and told me that they love me and they're proud of me. One day I'm going to die. I'm going to pass to the other side. I don't want to pass to the other side without hearing it once, that somebody is proud of me and they love me. Just once. So my dear child, I know I've not been a perfect parent. But please, is there one thing that you feel proud of me? Please tell me now. Is there one thing that you love about me? Please tell me now. And now I'm the child who is talking to the parent. And I say to this parent, now as I told you what I love about you and what I'm proud of you, I'm asking you. I'm not only asking you, but I'm demanding from you, just once, please look into my eyes and tell me that you love me and you're proud of me, because this is what I need to survive. It is my basic human right. So what I do actually, I encouraging my clients to do it, to go to their parents and they actually do it. To say what I feel and to ask for what I need. So this is already...
So the receipt is this. I'm saying what I need, what I feel, and I'm asking for what I need.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
So actually this integration process is a call to action.
Because, we can sit in therapy and talk about it until the end of days.
Of course.
Very good for the therapist's bank account. Okay, it's brilliant. We can sit here and talk forever, and I can look at my client and say, I understand.
Yes, but it's we can't throw on the garbage the psychoanalysis. I think it's a value. It is of value. I don't think in short-term therapies or I don't know other blah blah things. I think, because I'm a doctor, I don't think one can, and it is allowed to try to treat symptomatically. I think for the disease to be to be gone, you have to treat the cause.
Okay, so this I've not thrown out this psychoanalysis. I have used the psychoanalysis by going to the past. But the difference between pure psychoanalysis and what I do, I refuse to diagnose and do interpretations. What I do is observations.
Nice.
Because the moment that I start interpreting, I play a role that I know better than the client what the client needs or what the client is suffering. And apart from psychoanalysis, there is also the humanistic approach. And the humanistic approach is you are the only person in the world that knows
Yes, of course.
what this little child needs. Nobody knows it better than you. This is empowering the person that they have the answer inside themselves. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm putting everything together.
But together with this, first of all, let us consider that a child till 7 years, till the age of 7, his brain is still functioning with the predominant alpha waves. So his suggestibility is very, very high. And he's very open to suggestions. That is why maybe the bad words of our parents have such a powerful conditioning on us, or bad words or bad behavior of other people. And together with this, another thing is, each trauma is discharging on our brain some molecules, some chemicals, which are making something like an impression, chemical impression. So you're telling me that by hugging this inner child, we can erase all this?
No. Okay.
Or maybe we can put a balm, like a medicine.
Okay. There is a wound, and the wound is bleeding. When we heal the wound, and the bleeding stops, there is a scar, and the scar stays there forever.
Right.
And this scar, in a way, on a spiritual level, I choose to look at it as a gift. Because the question is, what have I learned about myself through my own traumas and through my own wounds?
Right.
And the moment I've learned something about myself, and I start to apply it into my life, you see, it's like one woman asked me a question. Can you tell me how to be a good mother? I say yes. I say yes, I can tell you. Remember yourself as a child, and remember what you needed as a child.
Right.
This what will make you a good mother. This we're forgetting sometimes.
But still, sorry for interrupting you.
Please.
Still, I have 2 kids. And both of them are grown up. They are adults and they are very responsible. And still, I was very, very cautious to give them exactly the same amount of love, the same attention, the same words, the same punishment sometimes. But still, my son is stronger in some. Leaving aside the thing that he's a man, and my daughter is, I feel her sometimes fragile, and they've got exactly the same.
Okay, yes, this is what you think, okay? The interesting thing that I come across, sometimes 2 siblings are meeting together.
Okay.
And they're discussing their childhood. And suddenly somebody says, are you sure we had the same parents?
This is good.
Because we have different perceptions, okay? Now, there is another thing. There is a research, I don't remember exactly where it comes from, that when a mother holds a baby, a male baby or a female baby, the holding is different.
Interesting.
And we also know from psychoanalysis, Alfred Adler, that is what's called the birth order theory. The firstborn and the secondborn, will develop different characteristics. So is your son older than your daughter?
No, she is older.
She is older. Okay. So as I'm the older child for my parents too, I tell you something. The older child always gets the biggest pressure.
Yes, I'm the
biggest
older
expectation.
too. I am the older too, so I know exactly what you mean.
And when I teach future psychotherapists, and we do the exercise which one of you is the older child in the class, in your family, more than half of future psychotherapists stand up and raise their hand. We are actually raised to take responsibility for others.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So I believe you that consciously you done your best to give them the same thing and the same treatment. And there is unconscious. Okay? And okay. We never going to raise the perfect child. Never.
Sure.
Okay?
Yes, for sure.
No matter what we do, all our children one day will need therapy. But
We're going to need therapy, first of all.
But the moment that one of your children, okay, comes to you, looks at you, and talks to you the way that you never had the courage to talk to your mother, even getting angry with you or blaming you for something, at that moment you should know that you've done an excellent job.
Right. Yes,
Because your children are able to open up to you
Right.
the way you were never able to open to your own parents.
Good.
This is the beauty about it. Because, we have research and we have science, and we are still so ignorant. Okay?
Right.
Our tools of research are too primitive to prove anything.
Right.
We still don't know. Because, you see, we live in an environment, the environment is changing all the time. The environment is not a safe place.
Right.
There are a lot of recipe books. I call it like cookery books with recipe. How to raise, okay, the ideal child. But whenever I'm trying to cook something according to recipe, I always burn the food.
Well, and I remember once you told me that parenting is always associated with guilt.
Yes, absolutely.
So as a parent, it's my friends, it's quite natural. You can feel free to feel guilty.
You feel guilty because you always ask yourself, what could I have done best?
Right.
And when your child done something wrong, you always feel it's your fault.
Right.
Everything is our fault.
Yes.
We think that we are so important. And the interesting thing about feeling guilty, from my experience, I've been seeing clients for more than 20 years now. Women love to feel guilty. It's all their fault. And suddenly they forget the sperm donor.
The father.
The father, exactly. So she is carrying the cross for the family, and the father is always innocent.
Beautiful.
Somewhere in our collective unconscious, women have this ability, everything is my fault.
To feel guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the man is always innocent.
So far about the inner child. So well, we had another theme we wanted to talk about. I told you on the introduction, doctor, and I know that you started a research study on cancer.
Yeah.
And what brought you to this?
Okay.
Why exactly this, which is a big theme, is very important, but it's heavy to carry. You are a challenging person, and you have a lot of tools to deal with. But what brought you to this exactly?
Okay. As I see it, and also talking to some friendly medical doctors, cancer becomes an epidemic. The numbers are just multiplying themselves. Okay? And they say it's because air pollution and bad food and bad water, etc., etc. They always start to look for causes on external factors. But cancer, in my opinion, is a depressed cell in the body. It's the feelings that we don't allow ourselves to feel, because the mind and the body are connected.
So here we come to psychoneuroimmunology.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. As we've done to psychodentistry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm looking Okay, I'm considering my assumption is, I'm using the word assumption, okay, I'm very careful here. My assumption is that cancer is also a psychosomatic disease. And also there are views that cancer is a modern disease because we hardly have any archaeological evidence of the existence of cancer. There is some, but very few. So, what's happening in our capitalist society? We are so busy with getting stressed, with fulfilling our materialistic needs, that we totally neglecting our emotional self. Totally. And it is an epidemic, and we need to look at where it's coming from emotionally. What are the emotions that are causing it? They are spending billions on cancer research,
Right.
and those billions about finding the cure for cancer. How can you find a cure for something if you don't explore the causes?
Right.
No, seriously.
Yes.
And, okay, so the idea is, you see, when I remember once I was giving a lecture about this subject, and one woman in the audience got extremely angry with me. She said, "You want to tell me that my mother died from cancer and it's her fault?" Okay, I'm not talking whose fault is it. I'm talking about responsibility. What
And
is
it
my
is,
responsibility to create cancer within myself? The moment I can take responsibility that I created it, then I can recreate it. But what actually chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and all these other horrible things are doing, they just repress the cancer cells. And then you get secondary cancer somewhere else in the body.
But talking about this, about responsibility, which each one of us has on his own body, and expressing itself and so on, and paying attention of his emotional inner life. What is different between cancer and any other illnesses? Because in respect with psychoneuroimmunology, every illness, even an accident, is caused by an emotional imbalance. So, what is bringing us to this and not to that?
Okay. First of all, in my opinion, there's no such thing as an accident. Okay? Accident happens for a purpose. Everything happens for a purpose. Now, when I'm conducting this research about cancer, okay, some professionals have challenged me, why don't you look at breast cancer as opposite to bowel cancer? Okay? I want to look at it holistically.
Of course.
So, okay, I need to focus somewhere, okay? But I do, okay, there is what's called autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease is when the body turns against itself, like arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, many others.
Yes.
They are autoimmune diseases. The body turns against itself.
And there are theories which are saying that those kind of illnesses are a way of escaping from the reality that it's allergies, for instance. It's not tolerating the environment. It's not about allergy to things or to medicine, or it's not. It's that you don't want to be surrounded by things.
Okay, I have a very good example about allergies. We have dust in our house.
Okay.
What is dust? Dust is dead body cells. Dust is what we were yesterday. So if somebody is allergic to dust, what does it mean exactly?
He's allergic to the past.
Yeah, I don't have an answer, but it's a good question to ask. Okay? What does it mean that you are allergic to what you were yesterday?
Yes. Interesting.
And we're trying to live such a perfect life. It's all about achievement. It's about achieving something. And achievement today is measured by materialism. We just forget our emotional and spiritual beings. This has been totally forgotten and neglected.
But of course, a very important place on this, it has our social system structure, Jure, because the accent is always on doing, not on being.
Yes.
What do you do today?
Yeah.
What have you done till now? You know, even though when old friends are getting together, what did you done? What
Yeah.
have you done till now? Where are you as on this social development scale?
So let's go back to childhood again. I want all of us to remember a sentence. Don't just sit there and do nothing. Do something with yourself.
Yes.
You're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And in therapy, okay, I know because I've been guilty of that myself, client comes for therapy with a presenting problem. And I feel that they expect me to do something for them to fix them. And I have to remind myself again and again that therapy is not the art of doing, it's the art of being. It's about sitting there and being there for the other person, just holding the space. Because in a lot of cases, you are the only person in the whole world that is actually listening to another human being and being there for them. It's not about interpreting, it's not about analyzing, it's just about being there and observing and reflecting back to the person
Yes. And
what is happening inside me when I listen to you. What is happening containing.
Yes,
Yeah, it's also containment.
The person and the,
Yeah.
the event
Yeah.
and the whole situation.
And
This is all about.
in a lot of times, a magic happens. I don't have to do a lot. If I give the client this space, okay, they start talking, and suddenly, I just reflect back, and they hear themselves saying what they're saying. And a lot of time, they come to their own conclusion themselves.
Most of the times, yes.
Yeah.
And I think this here is the real power of the,
Yeah.
of the therapy.
Yeah.
It's just bringing the person to his own developmental thing and his own mean.
So I want to mention another transpersonal thing. I want you to imagine now that we're going to visit another house. We're going to visit the house of your future self.
Nice.
We are now in the house of your present self, going to visit the house of your future self. And this future self is the self that have solved everything and reached a balanced, harmonious life. And now I want you to become the future self. And when you are the future self, I want you to look at the present self, because you, the future self, you are the only person or world that knows what your present self is afraid of, what are his doubts, what are his obstacles, what advice you would like to give to your present self as the future self. We have all the answers. We know everything. I sit in front of a person, and there is nothing new that they don't know that I can tell them. They already know everything. It's like, all I do is I take symbolically a torch, and I actually put the light on the dark corners of the room of their existence and show them that everything that they need is already there.
Right. And it's very powerful. But together with this, there are, and I know for sure from a lot of seminars I've been through, there are some lines of defense which each one of us has built in order to protect himself from, bad feelings, from others, So what do you do? How do you deal with those defense lines?
Okay. Defense. So, okay. What actually we defending ourselves against? Okay? I want to defend myself against anger and against negativity. If somebody's negativity or bad feelings are touching me, that means there is something inside me that is being touched. It's a lesson for me. Okay, regarding that about defense, a lot of my students ask me a question. How do you protect yourself from negativity of your clients?
Okay.
How you protect yourself? So yes, once when I was studying, one of the teachers said that you have to create a white bubble around you, so you're not affected by the negativity of the client. So if there is a white bubble around me and the client is not affecting me, I'm protected, but then I don't affect the client.
Right.
I do something controversial. It takes courage for me to do it. I open myself widely, and I'm letting myself to be affected. The moment I'm getting myself affected, I understand the inner world of the person better. So we go through life defending ourselves, okay? And the biggest defense that we build is called fear of intimacy.
Yes. Okay.
We're so scared of love and intimacy. We get married, we produce 2 children, we share the same bed together, we have sex, but there is no intimacy. I hear a lot of people saying to me, this is my partner, my wife or my husband, and this is my best friend. Which is my best friend is not my other half.
Right.
We just separated. And it is so sad. This fear of getting hurt. And when I'm afraid of getting hurt, I just repress it inside my body, inside to my cells, body cells. And then my body cells are reacting.
Right.
It's a reaction. Because the body never lies. Our mind can escape to the past or worry about the future. The only thing that exists in the here and now is our body. And this is what we don't listen to. And when something is wrong, we go to a medical doctor, we receive our chemicals, which actually repressing it deeper into our cells, and we've done nothing.
So how does it happen, do you think? How does it happen that we have to bring in bed near our apartment the social frame that we've built till now? How does it happen?
I did not understand your question.
You're saying that we are afraid of intimacy,
Yeah.
and that a person can introduce his wife or his
Yeah.
partner and his best friend.
Yeah.
So they're protecting themselves also toward the partner of life. So
yeah.
how does it come that we are getting into bed with this partner of life and we are wearing a mask?
Sex is the best defense against intimacy.
So ladies,
Yeah, we don't have to talk and we don't have to feel, okay? And whenever we have an argument, the solution is let's have sex and bury it under the cover. Okay, I tell you, okay. Before you ask me to define what is intimacy and get me into trouble, I try to say it myself. Intimacy, okay, is about if I'm getting with you into a relationship, okay, I know that the first tendency is to do the business card formula. I'm telling you all the best things about me, you telling me the all best things about you, okay, because we got hidden agenda, you know what. And then after some time, everything, the business card turns around and we see the other dark side. Okay, so I'm talking now about myself, not about anybody else, only about myself, okay? When I fall in love, the second reaction I have is I'm starting to get scared. I'm scared of what if something goes wrong? What if I'm going to get hurt? Intimacy is about being able to share it with the other person. I'm scared. I'm scared of getting hurt. to put the truth on the table and not wearing a mask all the time. I'm afraid to lose you. Sometimes I feel not good enough. Sometimes I need reassurance.
So you're telling on the first date or on the second date we have to bring our hidden agenda, Jure? Not okay. Third date? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe I do the intimacy after, you know what, not before.
Well, but is indeed of great value opening yourself,
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
said in the therapy session, because I'm feeling it on myself as a dental surgeon. I'm always somehow in the field of the patient, and you know, we become friends and so on and so on. And I began to feel it many years before that. All the time after major surgeries, I could feel this. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I thought it's because I'm tired, and second of all, it's something energetic, and third, I began to notice that it's worst when I am treating patients which are very anxious, and it's better when I'm treating patients which are relaxed and so on. So I talked with Professor Dulkan, which we are going to have in this show, and a very reputed neurosurgeon, which has a lot of very interesting books in Romania. And I asked him about this, and he told me exactly. I asked him about protection, as you told that you are asked by people. So he told me, no, it's not about making a protection or something. It's about being there for your patients, and of course you're getting affected, and you're feeling this. So maybe a good advice is to after that to lay down and to be on a flat and to do a little meditation and so on, because we are energetic beings. Also, each one of us. I'm saying all the time that we are like communicating vessels. Everything is contagious. If you're seeing people laughing, you begin to laugh with him, or you're feeling his joy and is rejoying you.
Okay. So, one of the things that really impressed me about what you said now is that you are able to feel the other person. Because when I go to therapy, and when I see somebody for therapy, I want to know that the person is feeling with me.
Right.
I want to know that they know what I'm talking about. Not just doing because I had a seminar about it in university or read a book about it. I want to know. So if somebody, comes to me and says, I was diagnosed with cancer, okay? I was never diagnosed with cancer. But I go inside myself and I try to feel that somebody has just given me the bad news, okay, that I've got some incurable, horrible disease. How would I feel? I'm putting myself in the shoes of the other person. I'm seeing how does it feel. It affects me.
Right.
And the moment it affects me, I can reflect it to the other person.
Of course. And this is the key.
Yeah.
This is the key for healing.
Yeah. So a person says to me something like that, and I say, I'm listening to you, and I feel great fear of dying. And that person starts crying. Suddenly somebody understood me.
Yes.
Because you know what society does, and especially loving family does.
Yes.
It's okay, you are strong, you're going to fight, and you're going to overcome it, and everything is okay. Don't be scared, we're just lying all the time. Just because we're protecting ourselves from our own fears.
Yes.
Just feel the feel of the other person. Give them permission to feel. Because we got these autoimmune diseases because we repress those feelings into our body. The whole idea is to give the other person permission to feel the forbidden feelings. Especially when everybody, is tapping on your shoulder and say, be strong.
But what if they are scared by their own feelings and they don't know how to deal with this? What do?
I feel with them. I feel it with them. And the moment, when the feeling is stuck inside me and I cannot express it properly or feel it, I take the same feeling, put it on the table and say, let's put it here. Let's look at it. I also, one of the things I teach is public speaking. Now, public speaking, if you're normal, you're supposed to feel nervous and anxious before your speech. This is normal. Okay? The best way to overcome it is you start your speech by saying, I feel very nervous.
Yes.
So you put it on the table and now you're free of it. You release it out of your
system.
This is also intimacy with yourself. Be honest.
Right.
But we're trying to pretend, and the more we pretend, the more it doesn't look right.
Yes.
We see so much masks and fakes out there. It's ridiculous.
And the more you're getting things out and you're putting it in the front of your audience, you're getting them into your side of the story.
Yes, exactly.
You're building a whole, community with them. Guys, be here with me because I'm scared, I'm afraid, and so on. So it has a very good value.
Guys, I'm as normal as you are.
Right.
And I've got the same problem as you are. I'm not superior, and when I say I've got the same problems, I'm with you on the same level.
Right.
So let's hold hands together and let's move together, holding hands to a better place. And not sitting on some kind of intellectual academic Olympus and say, you've got a problem, I'm going to fix you. Come up to enlightenment.
And while talking about let's move to a better place, I know you founded a school.
Yeah.
And you're promoting a new method of education.
Yeah.
Would you like to share with us a couple of things?
About method of education?
Yes.
Okay.
A better education.
Better education.
How do you see this? How do you do what do you do better for classes in your school?
Okay. One of the things that I do in school, is I create confusion. Okay?
Okay.
I teach something and then I become very critical of it. I actually encourage critical thinking. Because, people today, because of the spiritual crisis that humanity goes through, we're looking for quick answers. Fast food, quick answer, So it's very easy to, to become a newborn Christian or to go to somebody that, it shouts banalic things that you have to be proud of yourself and you have to do this and the other. Critical thinking is doubting yourself all the time. How can I improve myself? What can I do better? And in a way also to encouraging each individual to develop their own method, how they conduct therapy. This is why one of the things I strongly object is the word technique. You suffer from depression. I've learned a brilliant technique to free you from your depression. which means I've got a technique, which is a box, and I'm going to fit you into the box. And if you don't fit into the box, you are in denial and you're resisting. Instead of the word technique, I use the word approach. Approach means I'm aware of who I am, I'm aware what the person in front of me is, and I'm adapting myself to their needs, to who they are. And in a way, we are integrating together into one person. When we talk about education, okay, there are some bureaucrats that sit in the Ministry of Education and decide what people should learn, what subject they should cover. Nobody ever asks the children in school or students in university, what is it you like to learn, how you want to learn it, what kind of teacher you want to have. Nobody asks the customer what the customer needs. But you know, it's also society works like that. Right. They tell us what clothes to wear to be cool, what iPhone to buy, okay, right. What smartphone to buy. We are brainwashed all the time how we should live, what we should do. We don't need to think for ourselves anymore. We've got the internet even.
Right, yes. I heard this idea from the president of Ubiquity University when we were last week near Paris.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back a little bit to the critical thinking you are talking about. Aren't you afraid by promoting this critical thinking that it's gonna be at some stage directed toward ourselves, because together with the inner child, we psychologists know that each one of us has also an inner parent, which is very critical.
Yeah.
And the guy which is blaming, the first one which is blaming you is yourself. I mean, you are seeing your worst self from all the people present here.
Okay. So you asked me an interesting question. Am I afraid? I'll be honest with you. I'm not only afraid, I'm terrified. Am I doing the right thing? And I promise to myself one thing. The moment I'll stop being afraid, I'm going to stop doing it. Because I want to remind every parent, when you held your baby, first time in your life, first day in this baby life, in your arms, and you were supporting this fragile head, you are doing it with great fear, which means with great responsibility. So a person comes to me, they put their life in my hands. First thing I'm supposed to do is to be scared. I'm handling the soul of another human being. Am I doing it right? Am I going to harm them? So yes, we have a critical parent inside us, so we can do another dialogue with the critical parent. We can, we can, okay, so, you know, one of the things that I like to do, okay, so you've got a critical parent, okay, so move to another chair. Your real self sits there. I want you to criticize this person. Tell everything that you don't like and what this person is wrong. And now go back to the chair, and you heard what this critical said. What would you like to say back? Once again, to create dialogue is actually to separate, okay, between the critical self and the real self. Okay? To actually move from the false self into the real self. It's like separating between the adult and the child, is to be able to acknowledge all our different parts.
Wonderful.
This is called integration on a holistic level.
Wonderful. And going back again to the school.
Yeah.
We know it's working quite a while, many years in Estonia, and you're teaching also worldwide. And we have a branch of this school here in Romania.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Tell us about this.
Okay. Every few months, I'm coming to Bucharest, and I'm running seminars. on different transpersonal topics and also non-transpersonal topics. Because when I talk about transpersonal, ask me what it is. The important thing for me is, because I like to talk in pictures and in symbolism, if transpersonal is a penthouse on the top of a high building, to reach this penthouse, we need to get in through the ground floor. And the ground floor is psychoanalysis, it's cognitive behavioral, it's humanistic, it's existential, and only then we reach the transpersonal. So transpersonal for me incorporates the psychoanalytical too. For me, it's not a separate branch, it's a holistic branch, and everything is connected and linked. So I'm coming every few months to Romania. I'm running seminars, okay? I'm an accredited school by the European Association of Personal Psychology, and students that have finished certain amount of modules depend on the previous qualification, previous education, will entitled to receive the European Certificate of Transpersonal Psychology.
Wonderful.
So, yes, it's going very well in Romania. We always have between 30 to 50 people. I also have a group like this in Moldova, and it's just expanding.
Beautiful. And there are another lecturers coming.
Yeah, also, as I travel the world, okay, 68 countries so far, and I go to a lot of conferences, one of the things I do, instead of just learning, one of the things I do headhunting. I'm looking for charismatic,
Beautiful girls.
charismatic people that can say something,
Yes.
okay, and I bring them to my school. I send them to Romania. There were quite few of my international teachers that came to Romania. I sent to Romania to do some seminars, and there are some more coming next year.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Just to enrich, because whatever I teach, I don't know everything. I always need more teachers to teach the parts that I know they can do it better than me.
Wonderful. So with this, thank you so much, Jure Biechonski, for being with us. Guys, you heard, we have a very good transpersonal psychology school here in Bucharest. So come to visit Romania or go to Estonia to Jure's school. And with this, thank you again for being with us, and see you next time.
Thank you.